Hey guys, Jim here. Let's have a little bit of fun. Let's talk about probably one of the most useless, insane knives that you can buy right now. The HALO V from Microtech. Now, I say it's insane and I say it's useless, but it's so freaking awesome. If you've never fired a HALO, any of them, if you've never fired a HALO in your hand, you need to. Because when you do, you understand why we lust after a knife that's this ludicrous. Now, if I were in the military, this would be great. Oh man, it's maybe not out in the sand or whatever, because it is a single action out the front. But you know, for a regular everyday guy, you can't find a way to carry this. There's obviously no pocket clip on it. It's monstrously huge anyway. I mean, the damn thing is 10.5 inches overall when it's open. It's a monster. No clip, no way to carry it in the pocket. You can't just throw it in your pocket because you've got a plunger lock here, and then if you hit that button, well, you're screwed. The damn thing's going to deploy. So what they give you is this. Well, how the hell am I going to carry this big bulky thing, especially this way? Maybe this way, you know, across the small of my back or something, but there's just, it's not going to happen. Not for a regular suburban dude like myself. But once you do this, and you hear that sound, you instantly geek out. You turn into a small child. Think of the many impractical toys that you begged your parents for while you were growing up, that even if you got it, you used it maybe 5 times and then you never touched it ever again. That's my take on the HALO V for a normal everyday guy. There's no denying this thing is superbly crafted. I mean, listen, this was the very first model type of knife that Tony Marfione made as a single action out the front in Microtech. It started with the HALO, and it's evolved through the years. Everybody loves the HALO. A lot of people like the HALO 2. A lot of people hated the HALO 3 and 4. The 3 obviously still has some fans. I really haven't heard of anybody that really had an overwhelming passion for the 4, but the 5 has certainly brought back that audience. And what's cool about this is the way he designed this handle. Notice the very unique shape to it. There are so many different handholds on this knife, even to hold it back here to give you even more size. I mean, 10.5 inches is the size of this thing. And if you're holding on to it back here, you've got even more reach. I mean, this thing is just friggin' crazy. But crazy in the most awesome way. All right, so let's talk about the knife. It's a full aluminum handle, so they can anodize it pretty much any color. My favorites are the red, the blue, and the purple that they've done, but their standards are black, and they do some cool urban camo and things like that. You've got a plunge lock system here, so basically there's a notch in this part of the blade that you'll see when it's open, and there's a notch back here. So you've got the spring holding everything in place, and it's a single action spring. It's not like they're double actions like I've shown you from my collection in the past, where you push forward, it opens it, you pull it back, and it retracts it. All it does is you're compressing that spring when the blade gets loaded, and this plunger is holding it in place. And when you push it far enough, and you can feel it, there's a little notch there, then it lets it fire. It's releasing it from here. That's the part that's right there. And when you pull that plunger away, it lets it fire out. And it's held in place really, really solid. Single actions for out the front, even double actions, you're going to get play. There's just no way around it. There's a little play here. But this is the most solid I've ever felt any out the front automatic. I've owned Ultratechs, Daytonas, UTX 70, Scarab. I think that's the limitation of my out the fronts from Microtech. And this is by far, I mean, you don't hear a thing. Very, very, very solid. Now, in order to close the knife again, you do have to release the plunger, because again, it's sitting in another notch like this back here, I believe. So you push in the plunger, and then you're going to pull back on the charging handle. let go of the plunger so it doesn't just fire back out, and then you push the plunger back in. Here are the markings that are on the plungers, the Microtech name, HALO 5, its birth date, and serial number. Locks in place with two very strong, actually not really all that strong, I thought they were stronger than that. Seems to be spring-loaded plungers right there, one on each side. And you just push it back in, let it lock back in place, nice and solid. The overall construction is smooth, it feels nice, it has a little bit of texture to it. You really can't see it, I don't believe, but there's a little bit of texture to it. They feel like a stick of butter in your hands. They're amazing. But again, I've got no way as a normal human being to carry this on my person. So unfortunately for me, as much as I want one, it's just not going to happen. I actually had gotten this one from a friend of mine to buy it. And I was just going to go ahead and add it to the collection anyway because they're freaking awesome. But this one has a little slight issue. You'll see, I don't know if you can quite see it right there, but yep, there's the tip. The tip actually protrudes. I don't know if you could tell about my fingers grabbing it there. And that's a little scary for me. I really don't want the tip of the knife sticking out at all. And there were a couple little marks on there, so I'm thinking there was a slight issue with this blade, and he probably just received it like that when he bought it. So I'm just going to wait until I get the perfect one. Again, if you guys know anybody who was looking to get rid of one at a good price, listen, I don't want to pay the full $600. I'm not a retail kind of guy. I want either the blue, the purple, or the red. Somebody's got a fairly decent price on one. I've seen a couple go for $450, $475 lately. The market's not as hot on halos as they used to be. Just shoot me a quick email and let me know, and I'll probably pick it up. But for me, for $600, you know what? I'm going to buy a knife that I'm going to carry, and that's just the way it is. I do want to make a little commentary because the last video I did on a Microtech was on my DOC. That was my my R-rated review. And while I was tough on that, you guys, I'm tough on everybody. If there's something to be called out, I'm going to call it out. I do it my own unique way. I try to inject some humor. I don't do anything to offend anybody. And somebody had emailed me and said, "Oh, dude, I ran into Tony Marfione at a recent show, and he wants to kick your ass. He is pissed off at you for saying that he's pissed at the world, and you called his clip the fuck you clip, and this and that." I'm like, oh, that really sucks, because, I've heard Tony's a pretty cool guy, but you know what? People can take what I say really seriously, and, I get that. So when I went to the New York Custom Knife Show a little over 2 weeks ago now, I kind of avoided the Microtech table, to be honest with you, because I just didn't want to have any kind of confrontation. I had an amazing show, met a lot of really awesome people, and I was having a hell of a lot of fun. But a knife over there caught my eye, and actually my buddy that was with me, one of my really close friends, ended up buying it. It was a custom-made DOC, one of three made with this golden bronze DLC finish that was just mind-blowing. Most beautiful Microtech I've ever seen. And Tony happened to be at the table at that moment. So I said, you know what, screw this. I'm a man. I'm just going to walk up and introduce myself. So I introduced myself to him. He reached out, shook my hand. We had a great conversation for probably, I don't know, close to an hour. Dude has one of the best personalities of any knife maker out there. We had a great time. It was super fantastic talking to him, bullshitting with him, talking knives and all kinds of other stuff, talking reviews. And when we started talking about the new process that he's doing on his knives, he's doing this new, it's kind of a black DLC and kind of a bronze DLC. And I don't want to get too deep into it right now because it was really technical. It came from another industry, and he's the only guy that's going to be doing this right now in knives. It was offered, he came across it, thought it was really cool, talked to the creators of it, and decided to apply it to knives. So we started talking, and in a week or two or three, he's going to send me a few knives with these new coatings, and we're going to talk about it so I can educate myself on them and hopefully relay that knowledge to you guys. He was just friggin' awesome about it. He's talking about sending me knives that, he sells for $1,200, $1,300, $1,500, $1,800 just to come out here and do a silly, YouTube review. So I got to tell you right now, guys, super phenomenal guy, great attitude. He seemed very humble to me, and I witnessed him dealing with other customers coming and going during the time that we were there. And he was humble with everybody, and he was thankful for people buying his knives. He didn't make it seem like you're lucky to get one of my customs. It was thank you for choosing to spend your money at this table, you know, because there's a lot of great competition out there. He even signed my buddy's box and everything. We went over to Mick Strider, and Mick signed his box because it was a DOC, so, you know, it's their collaboration. So he was just friggin' awesome. So if anybody thinks that Tony, for some reason, is pissed off at me, couldn't be further from the truth. The guy was just so welcoming, so nice. And it wasn't, you know, one of those, you know, because you could tell when somebody's kind of bullshit and you can't, you know, they're a little overly nice. He wasn't like that. It was a straight shooter right there. So anyway, back to the Halo. You know, Tony did a great job designing these. These are friggin' fantastic. It is the strongest firing automatic I've ever played with. It almost wants to jerk out of your hand. And if I kind of hold it a little bit lightly, yeah, it does move a little bit. And it moved a little bit every time I open it. So anyway, just wanted to give you guys a look at it. For those that have been curious, is it a good quality knife because you haven't seen them in a store, you don't want to plunk down $600 to get your hands on one? I'd say, yeah, it's worth the $600. As far as the quality level, the build is fantastic. Everything is just great. You know, it's got their proprietary tri-wing screws all the way throughout. And when you're paying this kind of money and more, it's nice to get custom hardware. Is it a pain in the ass because you don't have the tool to you know, take the screws out with? Yeah. But I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't want to take apart a single action out the front. Because these are not easy to put back together if you don't know what the hell you're doing. I rely on professionals for that kind of shit. So that does never bother me, but I like the look of having the custom hardware. So yeah, it's big, it's bad, it's bold, it feels, in my opinion, it feels really great in the hand. It's about 6.5, 7 ounces in its overall weight. So it's really lightweight for as big of a knife as it really is. Just to give you a comparison, do I have any? I don't have any knives. Well, I do. I do have one knife close to me. So here it is up next to a Combative Edge M1. Which is a 4-inch blade, I believe. Is it 4-inch or 3 3/4? I think it's a 4-inch. Yeah, so this is a big friggin' knife, but it's slim, fairly easy to wield, and it's lightweight. If you've got a way to carry it, if you're dressed in a manner that allows you to carry this big ass pouch, then yeah, by all means, go for it. But that's bulky, that's big. I know, I think the original Halos came with like a Kydex sheath, and I think there are some makers out there of Kydex products that will make or have offered a specific sheath for this. And there may even be a tech lock where you can have it in different positions on your belt. And that may make it more user-friendly for you. So that might be an option. If you're looking at this going, I don't care how impractical it is, it's just friggin' awesome, and I've got to have one, and I'm going to find a way to carry it, that could be an option for you. So, you know, don't take what I'm saying as it's completely uncarryable. And I know it's not a real word, I don't care. I think it's still a pretty damn cool piece. So there you go. Wanted to give you guys a full HD look at it. One more pass before I turn the camera off. Oh, he's so big. He's so big. Completely smooth on this side, no hardware at all. Very long fuller on there. Great grind. Alright boys, there you go. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again sometime soon.